say it got dark.
We'll give people a couple of minutes. He's like, am I ready for the camera? Great evening, beautiful people. How are you? Madison, Carlista, and Cedric, Rashad, an authentic conversation this evening. We're going to be getting started in just a matter of a couple of minutes. I tell you what, some really great stuff to discuss tonight. So, if you happen to know anyone that could be listening to some words of wisdom from our resident guru, Cedric Rashad, invite him on over. Grab a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, a bowl of rice, some cereal, whatever. Join us. We're going to get started. We'll see what we can do about... Hey, we're not going too much. Because it's just too much. We'll go ahead and get started. Great evening, beautiful people. How are you? And thank you so much for tuning in. I am Madison Carlista, and this is Cedric Rashad. And we are inviting you in on an authentic conversation. As some of you may know, Cedric is not only my life partner, the love of my life, and all that really amazing stuff, but he is also my mentor. He was my mentor way before we became this actual power couple. And we still have these amazing and dynamic conversations with one another. And since we have gone on this journey of learning Forex and actually starting to craft our own exit strategy and our own platform for how we want to live, and doing something that is so totally different from what we have been doing together over the past 7 years, we thought it would be very important just to share this particular conversation. And so, babe, one of the things we were talking about was being comfortable versus being uncomfortable. And, you know, you and I both have experienced that. And you had a really interesting spin on that. So, did you want to just go ahead and... Sorry about that. Jazz has something to say, too. But did you want to just go ahead and just share your position on, you know, what are you thinking about comfortable, being comfortable and uncomfortable?
Well, I think just bringing kind of a recap of this last week. You know, so many interesting conversations have happened with me. You know, being in this industry, you talk to a lot of people, and so over the last couple weeks, I kind of had a little bit of a conversation regarding being comfortable and uncomfortable, and it really kind of started with me blowing leads. We live in a space that's got a gazillion trees and a gazillion leads, and so rather than me paying somebody, because I got all this free time, I came up with this great idea that I was going to blow some of them myself. And it was a terrible idea.
Way above his pay grade.
Oh my God. And I quickly found out that it's an art to blow in these damn leads. It was absolutely crazy. But when I was blowing the leads, the reason this conversation came about is that I'm normally right-handed, and here a couple months ago, I had a friend of mine who had a 70th birthday party out in Las Vegas. Fabulous event. You know, shout out to Maya and Ron Washington for a super event. And so on Friday night, we were bowling, and I haven't bowled in a gazillion years. And so my first game, I really was doing pretty good. And so, you know, when you start doing good, you start flossing and you start, you know, feeling yourself and trying to do too much, as we like to say. And the next thing I know, I was out there trying to really do something, and my wrist has been jacked up ever since then. And so I'm blowing the leads, and my wrist is really hurting, and now I got to use my left hand. And so it really kind of made me think about the fact that we have a tendency of doing stuff that we're really comfortable with until something really bad happens. And it puts us in this space. And I'm in that space right now. And I tell you that long story to tell you that I'm trading foreign currency now, and I can literally tell you that I am super, super uncomfortable just trying to learn this game. You see, it's much easier in this normal network marketing arena for me to learn how to sell you some travel, learn how to sell you some insurance, some skincare for your pretty face, to lose some weight, to be able to drink some coffee, some tea, whatever it might be. And I'm not hating on the game. What I'm sharing with you is that when we're talking about something about money and trading foreign currency versus a traditional product that I've been associated with, and I've been associated with all the products that we've talked about in my 20 plus years in this game. So I'm uncomfortable now, but one of the other side of being uncomfortable is that's where you get favor, that's where you grow, that's where you stretch, that's where you realize that there's an end game, that you can't get a six-pack with one push-up like I did. You know, you can't do that. It's going to take more than one push-up to get that six-pack. And I guess what I'm sharing with you is that right now in this new arena of IMarketsLive, you know, I'm learning a skill set. But because of Troy's Trade House that we have 5 days a week, I'm developing that muscle. I'm using that left hand. I'm uncomfortable. And as a result, I'm stretching. As a result, I'm getting a little bit better. And yes, there's plenty of time to go. And there's a lot of upswing. But I'm excited because I'm in that learning curve again. I'm in that learning curve. And many of us, after 30 years of age, guess what? We don't pick up a book. Our learning curve goes out the window because we think we got it all. And the reality of it is maybe we don't have it all.
So another thing that, you know, because of this comfort versus being uncomfortable, and another conversation we were having, babe, was about the comeback.
Yeah. And
you had a really interesting conversation with one of your really dear friends after the fall of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that you don't like to talk about this, but it's something really dynamic because you were living on top of the world, and at the turn of the economy, you lost multi-millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And came down pretty hard.
Well, I tell people, you know, when you fall from the 3rd floor and somebody hears your scream, it's pretty quick. Wah! And boom, then you hit the ground. But when you fall from the 100th floor, it's a long scream, and they can hear you all the way down till you hit the ground. You know, I tell people that, you know, when people say, aren't you embarrassed to tell that story? Man, please, are y'all kidding me? You know, dude, can't nothing embarrass me. I'm too tough for that. And what I realize is that it is better to have had all of that stuff than to have never had all that stuff and be always wanting that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I can just tell you this. Just because you have a lot of stuff doesn't mean you're going to be any happier. I'm happier now and I had more stuff. You see, I had bigger teams in this networking arena than I have now, but that's not really what's important. This is really the best group of people I've been around. And that's no disrespect to other people. What I'm sharing with you is that we're growing together. Whereas before, I might have been here and they were here. And I was always uncomfortable with that gap between us. And it's, regardless of how hard I tried to make that gap come closer, I just kept pulling off. You see, it was very natural for me, but it was very uncomfortable for them. I had a buddy of mine that made a call to me in my darkest, deepest days. And I want to give a shout out to my main man, Clay Henderson. You know, I called Clay because Clay was this superstar real estate broker. Oh, he had sold all the big homes in our subdivision, and he was one of the top 10 realtors around in the country. This guy was the bomb. You know, he should be on that TV show they got now. That's a good idea. I got to tell him about that. You know, and what I can tell you is that I called him up because when this tsunami came, you know, we were standing out on the beach, and all of a sudden we saw this wave, and we thought, wow, what a wave. And as it got closer, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And so this wave was getting closer to me. So I decided to call somebody in the game, in the real estate game, a titan that was in the game. But he didn't answer the phone. So then he called me back about 30 minutes later, and he just started talking. You know, have you ever called somebody, they didn't answer the phone, you didn't leave a message, and then they called you back, and almost like a clairvoyant, they just, how did they realize what you wanted? That's what happened with him. He said, you know what, Sid? Let me tell you something. Whatever you were doing before this catastrophe, before this whole recession thing, you better go back and doing it. He said, nobody gave you any money to get in this country club, and nobody's going to give you any money to stay in this country club. He said, they all are going to talk about you when you lose all of your stuff, because they thought you had too much stuff anyway. How about that? And he said the last thing, if you don't start working on your comeback today, you're not going to make it.
Powerful.
If you put it off a day, a week, an hour, you're not going to make it. He said because the human being has a tendency of procrastinating. And what happens is you say, I'm going to do it next week or next month. You know, and that's the way people are about our business. You know, I'm going to get started next week, next month, when the time is right. After the holidays, once I lose this weight, whatever it is, some Mickey Mouse reason on why you're not going to get started right now. You're not going to start working on your comeback. And I can tell you that I don't know why he knew what I needed to hear, but sometimes somebody gives you some truth so powerful that you can't deny it. And I want to give mad love to him. Every time I talk to him, the first thing he asks me, how you doing on your comeback, man? I said, man, I'm super fantastic. I'm working on it every day, every day. So I would just tell you, if you're not in that place where you want to be right now, you know, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. We're coming up on the triad. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year, where people get distracted from whatever they do. They get distracted with the holidays and the gifts and the families and the travel and all of that. I'm just sharing with you, man, if you're not thinking about 2018 right now, you're too late. You better start working on the comeback today. So if you're a W-2 person and you're sitting in that cubicle and sitting next to the person that you hate, you despise, and this person is making more money, who's telling you what to do, and you know they don't have the intellect, they don't have the aptitude that you have, then this is the time to start planning a game plan right now. What are you going to do different? Because here's what I can tell you. Time don't wait for nobody. And if you ain't careful, just think about how close last Christmas was. Oh, that's right. It seemed like it was 3 or 4 months ago, right? It happens just like this. So what I would tell you right now is this might be your comeback. You know, if you're out there and you're listening to Matt and myself, you know, hey, reach out to us. We've had some incredible people. Shout out to the Gilchrist who are here having mad love, Carmen and Stephen right here. You know, shout out to them, you know, because you never know who's in that place right then. You know, and maybe they're sick and tired. And let me just say something. This is the time where those leaders of those big teams start negotiating another place. They start negotiating, but they haven't quite told you because they're going to do it here a little bit closer so it can start at the beginning of the year. It might just be time to get off that train. That's all I'm saying. I remember it happened to me. I remember I'm from Chicago, and you know it is cold as Hades in January. And 4 years in a row, I went there with 4 different deals because somebody above me said we were moving to that thing. So I'm just saying, if you want some freedom and some real independence, you need to learn a skill set yourself. And what I mean by that is we're going to teach you how to make money without recruiting anybody, without worried about anybody, without any upline, sideline, downline, or anybody else needing to help you. You can help yourself. And that's what we're really talking about.
I I tell you, it's funny because Vicki McMurray, you've been so very diligent about following so many of the videos that we've been.
She said you're supposed to reach out to her too.
Yes,
she inboxed me. My bad. Yes. I didn't tell her.
So many of the videos that we have been presenting, and I know the question you have. Well, what about if I live in another state? How does the training work? IMarketsLive has a platform, an educational platform that is unparalleled to anything that I have ever seen. And this is the first thing that I have seen that you don't need to be involved in anything else if you would just focus on the education. And not only that, not only are Cedric and I available, there's so many trainers within IMarketsLive.
Team of people, gangster, everybody knows.
And they don't care whether or not you're on their team.
They don't care about
if you want to learn to trade, they say come, welcome. Cedric and I are putting together a schedule to get on the road to actually begin to train as well. And so no one is alone. No one is left behind. That's what I love about our morning London breakout sessions. We get up at 3:30 in the morning for this.
Yep.
And we have a small intimate team of us that get together. And Troy says, no one will be left behind. Everyone has their own personal account that they're trading out of. So everyone is trading on different levels.
Shout out to Troy Trade House. Shout out to you, brother.
But just because we have our own different accounts, we're still all learning at the same time. And Troy says, no one will be left behind on our team. That's what I love about it.
Well, first of all, let me just throw in this. Let me add my 2 cents to that, because I got an opinion on most things, and this is definitely something I got. Let me tell you what you're not going to hear with IMarketsLive. What's your rank when you meet somebody? First thing, a networker in these networking situations, they want to know what's your rank to determine where you are on the totem pole, or if I'm going to give you any space, time, or energy. What? We don't even care about all that nonsense. And secondly, whose team are you in? First of all, you're in iMarket's global team, over 120 countries. You're not in anybody's team. You're on your team. You're starting. You're the starting player on your team. And that's the great part. And everybody is a starter on the team. Nobody sits on the bench in this game. Nobody. Nobody's in the stands clapping. Nobody's rah-rah. Everybody's dirty as dirty. Everybody's dirty as dirty. That was pretty clever, wasn't it? Everybody's jersey is dirty because you know what? We're getting in there. We're learning how to trade. And it's just like football. Sometimes we score, sometimes we take a loss. Sometimes we win, but the W, what we want to do is we want to what? Have that W. At the end of the day, we want to have that W, and that's what we're doing now.
So, babe, how are you looking at the exit strategy?
Oh my God, don't start me. Well, first of all, let me just say this. If you are a W-2 person, do you really believe that by coming early, staying late, working hard, taking less days off, being that person who is always so bubbly at work, always that person volunteering, do you really believe that that's going to get you a promotion? Do you really believe that in the long run, that's going to give you an upside? If you are a 1099 person where time is money, and you're out here working so business, I remember Michael Gerber used to talk about it. You're so busy working what? In your business that you can't work on your business. Then what I would just say to you is maybe there needs to be an exit strategy. In other words, where do I want to be by next Thanksgiving? Where do I want to move my family income? Where, and this circle of people that I've been spending time. They say that the 6 people you spend your most time with will determine what your income level is. Give a shout out for the Gilchrist right here. That's right. We're dealing with 6-figure earners. It's something to that. And so I will just tell you the exit strategy is if you're a networker, we're not asking you to come and join IML. What we're saying, though, is that this skill set will give you an exit strategy regardless of what you do. Take your money, learn this, and multiply, leverage it, monetize that skill set. Because here's what I can tell you. People, I don't know, and we just had this, Steve and I just had this conversation offline. Think about this question, networkers. How many people do you know have been in the game, walked away from the game, and had enough money to keep them out of the game? In other words, we always said this was not a destination, this is a journey to the destination to get you to where your passion is. Shout out to my main man, Dr. Raphael Spiller. Tell the truth, brother. That brother said, you know, I thought this was my calling, being a minister. But now he's a minister of what? Economics, of Forex. Shout out to you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. I love that. Because he realized he has a calling now. So his exit strategy is to help each one, teach one, reach one. I would just say to you, if you don't have an exit strategy, and it's not concrete, it's not sound. And somebody told me, if you really want to know where you're going, all you got to do is look in the rearview mirror about where you've been. And if you don't change nothing, you're going to end up in the same place. If you don't change your direction, you don't make a turn, you don't take a ramp, you don't make a U-turn, you don't do something different, you're going to end up in that same place. And I would just challenge you to take a look at it. Just be objective. It doesn't cost any money to take a look at something different. It really doesn't. And I can just share with you that it's life-changing. What it's doing with people here, you know, there's two lanes over here. You can be a networker, you can be a trader, or you can do both. But what I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, this is a different beast that's ever come along in the networking game. This is a different kind of beast because it creates independence. It creates power. It creates empowerment. And that's what it allows you to do. It allows you to be empowered for you to be able to chase those dreams that you've always talked about. That's what I can tell you. So we're in the right place at the right time. Momentum won't even take another year or so. You know, our goal is to have 1 million customers. That would be scary. In the last company I was in, my number was right at 500,000. My number, when I signed up, it was like 498 something. And then I signed up people that had a number of 1 million and something. And we got 50,000? 50,000. We were in like 10 countries. We're in 120 countries. It costs $500. It costs $200. We need 3 to get free. You need 2 to get free. And it's a skill set that nobody can take away from you. So if one day you just get a bad attitude,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
and you just want to cuss somebody out.
Oh, come on.
You just want to tell somebody what's been on your heart for a long time. You know that you can make yourself $500, $1,000, $2,000 a day, a week. Boy, that's a new kind of freedom, folks. That's a new kind of freedom right there. So I would just tell you, take a look at this new beast, IMarketsLive.
You know, this has been, like you said, this has been something that's been so very different from what we've ever experienced in the network marketing industry. And just the thought that, Troy said something interesting. Everyone is actually, if you have a bank account, if you have a checking account, you're trading Forex. You're just not aware of it. Why do you think the bank is giving you that 0.001%? They're giving it to you because they're taking your money that's in your account and they're trading it on the market.
Yeah.
And they're taking the lion's share of it. We really have this thing so tremendously twisted. Here it is, we're thinking that we're the customer to the bank. No, the bank is our customer. Think about this. We're giving them our money and we're like, here, trade this. I'll take this 0.001%. That is a really different type of.
Well, you know, I've had a lot of great conversations. Shout out to my main man, Troy Wilkerson, heading up the Troy Trade House on the West Coast, the left coast, an incredible leader. And this weekend has been kind of an amazing weekend. This is my 50th anniversary of me going over Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. It was November 8th, 1967, and I had a chance to talk with 3 of the 7 of us who pledged together and went over together. And when I was talking with them, every now and then when you're talking with somebody, you know, a lot of times people say, well, I've been knowing him for 30 years. I've been knowing him for 20 years. I've been knowing him for 40 years. But a lot of times what really happens, you knew somebody 4 years, 20 years ago.
That's right.
You knew somebody 3 years, 30 years ago. You didn't really know them 30 years because you ain't been in touch with them 30 years. You feel me? So I'm talking with Jervy Brown, my main man. I'm talking to Fred Oliver, my main man. We are 3 of the 7 of us who pledged together. And we were laughing and joking about all of those old good times we were getting our asses kicked. And an idea just popped out. The idea was, I'm going to sit down with the Lincoln University of Missouri, founded in 1866 by 3 black soldiers who had been taught how to read, which was against the law, by their white counterpart soldiers, and they raised $6,000
That's a lot of money.
in 1866 to start Lincoln University, the Lincoln University of Missouri. And it occurred to me that I'm calling the president because Jervy is on our foundation board of Lincoln University. And I said, Jervy, I got an idea. I want you to set up a meeting with the new president. We're getting a brand new president. And what I want to do is I want to enlist a group of my business partners to come and provide an entrepreneurial class on trading Forex. People like Troy Wilkerson. People like Lawrence and Tamara Young. People like that. People who are doing this thing. People like Corbett Powell. People like Mitzi. People like, you know, Carmen and Stephen Gilchrist. That we can volunteer our time to go down there and take these students and teach them foreign currency in a platform that when they graduate, they won't have any more school debt. They won't have any more money they owe to the college. On one premise, we teach them that a percentage of their earnings will be donated to the school and to other students who are trying to get an education but can't afford it. So I would just tell you, if the company you're involved in right now has got that kind of vision, then you're in the right place. But if they don't, and you don't have a platform that can get there, then you need to take a look at us.
Well, I think you've said enough.
All right. I'm fired up tonight. I'm fired up. I got my friends over here, and we're pumped up, and we're strategizing on what we're going to do. But I would just tell you, we want to thank all of you for plugging in. We want to thank all of you who instant message us and do it. If this sounds like something you might want to be involved in, then just give us a call, instant message us. It's okay. You know, there's no obligation. You know, just if you're inquiring, you need to know more information, let us know. We've got a team all around the globe. We can assist and help you. And you know what? If you just want to trade, that's fine. This is not about recruiting. We're on a bigger mission right now. Now, if you're probably saying, how come I haven't called you? Well, let me just tell you why. When I call you, here's what I'm going to have. A real plan on how you can make yourself a couple $1,000s a week just trading a few hours a day. And let me tell you something. We're testing it right now. And I promise you, you need to make sure. Don't wait for me to call you. You call me. Maybe you're not ready yet, but I promise you, we've got a plan for you to make this thing a lot of fun so you can make some money too.
One of the things that we've been able to do is that when I started trading with IMarketsLive Forex, it took me about four months to get halfway comfortable with trading on my own. And now, you know, because of what we're doing with the London breakout session and the IMarketsLive Academy beginners courses, and with so many of the other tools that we have, we've now been able to collapse that from 4 months that it took for me, anywhere from 7 to 10 days from the time that you're getting started with IMarketsLive and Trade House Mafia, all the way to getting you into the game, into the market, into the London breakout session, and starting to profit on your own. So, you know, we're tightening up our strategy,
right,
on getting that together.
Mm-hmm.
But like Cedric said, if this is something that makes sense to you, leave us a message. Leave us a message in Cedric's Facebook Messenger. Leave a message in my Facebook Messenger. Leave a message right here on the live webinar. We will be more than happy to get back in contact with you. Or even better, if someone invites you on to watch this,
get back
in touch with them. Yeah. And they will share everything with you, the exact same information. But I tell you what, guys, with that being said, that's all we have to share.
Hey, we'll see you next week. All right? Hey, let's go out there and catch some of them pips. All right?
We'll see you on the other side of greatness. Ciao.